All right. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Let me just turn down this music. It is so good. This music. Oh, thank you so much, Akeem. That's fun. Um, Welcome. Happy Friday, everyone. How's everyone feeling? I'm very excited today. We have our intern demo day today. And if you're not too sure of what that means or what interns are, well, these wonderful people come and join atSign for 8 weeks during the summer. They get their hands dirty in code, marketing, any video editing, sales, a lot of fun stuff to do here. And today is their day to present all of the awesome stuff that they got their hands dirty with. And let's just jump right into it, I guess. Umang, I think you'll be joining us first. I see that your camera's off and stuff, though. I'll give you 1 second. There he is. Okay. Umang, how
Hi
you doing?
everyone, I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Okay, so all of the demos today will be approximately 10 minutes long. Um, they won't necessarily be 10 minutes long, but Umang's going to kick us off. Feel free to go to your slides and I'll pull them up for you.
Okay. Can everyone see my screen?
Yep, you're good to go.
Okay. Hi everyone. So today I'm going to talk about my project called atPython. I have developed this project as a part of my internship here at atSign. Let me first introduce myself. My name is Umang Shah, and I am a Python developer and an AI enthusiast with keen interest in computer vision. In my free time, you will find me cooking some cheesy dishes, or traveling to fun places, or simply binge watching TV series. Some of you must be wondering what atPython is. So, atPython is an alpha SDK which uses AT protocol to establish secure communication between two atSigns. It is useful for developing application on top of the AT protocol in Python. Some of the features of the SDKs are as follows. The first one is data transfer. It uses AES and RSA encryption algorithms to achieve secure data transfer between two atSigns. Second is atSign registration. It contains atSign registration scripts as well as onboarding script so that developers can easily create new atSigns. I have also created scripts so that users can easily understand the SDK and start their development right away. At the core of the SDK is atClient class. It makes communication to the root server and secondary server in order to communicate with different atSigns. The atClient stores data to atServers based on the type of the provided keys. There is a provision of customer exception class to accommodate rich app development. In order for atClient to communicate with the atServer, it has to perform some basic steps. First, it has to load the at keys related to the given atSign. Then it has to find the address for the given atSign using the root server. After that, the atClient instance gets connected to the atSign address and performs PCAM authentication. After performing all these steps, the atClient is ready to make secure communication between atSigns. This whole process has been made easier for developers in a way that they just need to create an instance of the atClient class and all the process will be taken care of under the hood. Now let's look at the demo. So here, first I will load Python, then I will import all the necessary classes. So we will first import the atClient class, which would through which we would be able to make communication with the atServer. Then I will import the atSign class, which is necessary for creating an atSign instance. After that, we will import public key. So public key would be useful for storing the data, which would be accessible for every atSign. Now I will create an instance of my at sign, which is 27 Barracuda. Using that at sign, I will create an at client instance. This at client instance would initiate the flow which I talked about in the previous slide. Then I will create a public key instance. So using this key, everyone would be able to access my data. To store that data on the ad server, I just need to use the key and the value which I want to put for that key. So the put function would return the commit ID, which is associated with every command that I fire on ad server. Now, using the get function, I would try to access the stored data using my ad client. And yeah, I am able to do that. Now I will create another ad sign, another ad client for a new ad sign called Batman88 Aries. Now I will try to get that data using that ad sign. It is successfully able to fetch that data. Now I would try to store the data which is only visible to me. For that, we will use the self key. Now I will create an instance of the self key. I will use that self key to store my private data. Again, this would return the commit ID. Now I will try to get that data using first at signs at client, and I will be able to successfully do that. But if I try to fetch that data using the second at clients, I won't be able to. I would get an error calling the key not found. Now, if I want to share the data between two at signs, I can do that using the shared key. Now, in the shared key, we need to specify the key name, the first at sign, who is sharing the data, and the name of the second at sign, who will be receiving that data. Now, I will use that key to put the value for that client. Now I will be using the second at client to fetch that data, and it is able to fetch that data as we can see it here. Now if I want to delete any of my stored keys, I can do so using the delete function. If I want to know which keys are associated with my at sign, then I can do that using the get at keys function. This would fetch all the keys which is associated with that at sign. I can also use regular expressions to filter out some of the keys. For example, if I only want keys named public, then I would be able to fetch that. Here we can see that it has only fetched the public keys. Now I will show you the registration script that I have performed in order to register a new at sign. So here we will specify the file which we are going to use for registration and the email ID through which we are going to register. So 61 huge blush will be my new ad sign, and I have received an OTP on my email. After I enter the OTP, it will validate that OTP. Then it will generate my cram secret, and then I'll wait 10 seconds for the server to accommodate the changes, and after that it will onboard the add sign. So now that add sign is ready for use. One of the optimizations that I performed on the connection class is that every time an add client instance is made, a connection to the root server needs to be established in order to get the address of a given add sign. I have implemented the root connection class in such a way that every time when add client tries to get instance of the root server, it will pass the existing object from the memory and will not create a new object each time. In order to maintain the robustness of the SDK, I wrote some unit tests and made sure that all the test cases passes every time I add or remove features from the SDK. I also created GitHub Actions to ensure the compatibility of the package across different Python versions. The GitHub action would install all the required dependencies for all the Python versions and then run all the written unit tests. This was very helpful to determine the compatibility Python versions for the SDK. That's it from me. Now I would like to hear any questions or suggestions you might have for me.
All right. Umang, thank you so much. Everyone's chanting at Python in the chat for you. This is some spectacular work, man. Thank you so much for your time here at atSign.
Thank you.
That is really impressive what you've done. I don't think a lot of people can say that they've created an entire SDK, especially during an internship. So great stuff.
Thank you.
All right. And again, these guys only had 8 weeks with us. So I'm sure you can imagine how much blood, sweat, and tears they put into this. So great stuff, Umang. Did you want to talk about some difficulties that you experienced working with this and figuring out problems and whatnot?
Yeah, so in like starting, I was not able to like figure out the add protocol itself. So Jeremy was like a big help. Like he helped me figure out how I should like do my architecture stuff and whatnot. And Chris was a big help for like GitHub Actions.
Yeah, that's great. Well, I'm happy that you managed to get through all of that. That is a lot of work that you've done. So great stuff, Umang. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Up next, we have Kelvin. Kelvin, how you doing?
I'm fine.
Are you there?
I'm fine.
There we go.
Okay.
All right.
Hear
Are
me?
you ready to present? I can hear you.
Okay.
You want to pull up your
Um,
slides?
Yes. Okay. So.
All right. Here we go. The floor is all yours.
Thank you, brother. Summer intern, 2023. My name is Kelvin Zawadi. My GitHub profile is, or my GitHub username is K Zawadi. I'm a mobile apps developer using Flutter to build efficient apps. You can find me in Twitter by the handle Kelvin Zawadi, but also I'm the sole owner of the two art signs at 2022 at 22590 and the digital 23. I'm so glad that I was accepted to join again this year to do an internship at atSign, and one of the major benefits of interning at atSign is that you have to choose. You can choose the project you want and fly with it. So when I joined, I found a project about FHIR. FHIR is Fast Healthcare Interoperability Resources. Okay, it's a standard for exchanging healthcare information electronically. This is to address the challenges of healthcare interoperability by providing a standardized way to exchange, integrate, and manage healthcare data across different systems and platforms. atInterns protocol is positioned perfectly to solve the subject of privacy and interoperability in FHR systems. With FHR data, the patient data, because these are patient data, the data obtained, which is supposed to be obtained at the hospital or an organization, and they contain health data. There is a need for security, privacy, and if necessary, the way to access it safely to the third party. So when I joined the internship, I found the team already set up, which was working on implementing the AT protocol on FHIR systems, and the basic idea is that FHIR data will be private to the atInterns secondary server, and what happens is that a patient is going to consent that I want my data to be used to be accessible by, let's say, a physician during this period of time. So the AT protocol can help in implementing the consenting system so that it can be very easy for patients to consent and revoke consent when possible to their FHIR data. Yeah, so patient data is available only when a user has given consent to it. So this is a work in progress. This is still a work in progress, as we have already determined the way the system will work and function, and now we are in the process of making different utilities and packages so that we can implement and we can build now apps and systems which implement FHIR standards and at platform. So internship is fun, and this is my second year, and I know exactly how fun things can be. There is a lot of reasons the internship is so fun here. I can say that reason number 22,300 for interning here is we get to work on projects of your liking, and hence solving fun problems too. Problems are fun to solve. So everywhere we go, there are problems to be solved. At that time, we solve identity and privacy online. We call it flipping the internet. Yeah. As I was interning and dealing with the art platform, with every platform there are problems or inconveniences which arises, and these problems have to. First of all, we have to say that they are fun, and from being fun, we solve the fun problems. So, one of the inconveniences I saw was that tracking bugs for apps deployed out there with emails is not very convenient. Okay, so let's say we have developed a product with Art Platform, and we have deployed it. What happens if it crashes or anything happens in the world? You know what happens when apps are deployed worldwide? Things happen, internet, packages breaks. So we kind of need the way to exactly know what happened to our app. How is it performing? So Tinashe, what if Tinashe and Co? Tinashe, for anyone who doesn't know, she's a quality assurance queen at AtSign. She makes sure people out there have the best experience from apps developed using Art Platform. Okay? But she doesn't have the granular metrics of health data from apps deployed out there. You'll find that a client has tried to use a certain product developed with Art Platform, and he can't use it because there is an error or a certain problem or a bug. So what he does is that if he really wants that product, he will just email in like, hey guys, I'm trying to use your product, but I can't seem to make it work. But that is not efficient. That is not efficient. So, can this be the one more thing moment for this problem? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm introducing you to the solution, and the solution is an analytic platform built for apps built on Art Platform. An analytics platform built for apps built on Art Platform. Let's name it atInterns. atInterns. It's an analytics platform built to track different usable and insightful events happening on apps built on Art Platform. The general stack of that analytic platform is that I've developed a package to be used by apps to now integrate with this platform, and also there's an analytic core which does the core metrics calculation, and also our friend Tinashe, who is a quality assurance queen, has to track those issues or bugs or the health generally of the apps built on the Art platform. So I've built the package the package to be used by apps built on Art platform, the analytic core, which is the one which does calculations of different events, and a console for quality assurance people. Now, when they wake up, they just on board and they see the health status of apps deployed out there on the Art protocol, built by the Art platform. So I think let's demo it. Let's demo something. So I'll have that screen, and that screen. Okay. So here we have the package. Okay. This is the package. This is the package which apps built on Art platform can import, and from here they can have simple and easy APIs to communicate with the Art analytic platform, and hence they can track different usable and insightful events happening on the apps built on Art platform. The package itself, implements the put verb event, logging the put verb event, but also logging any event, a custom event, but also the current screen of a user. Okay, but also you can initialize analytics you can initialize analytics by the SDK, the Dart SDK of the Art platform, the Art protocol. There is new changes, and there is some new stuffs implemented on version 3.0.6.61, which is called telemetry. Is that the secondary server provides telemetry of different events happening on the secondary server itself. So you can also initialize this the telemetry event, the telemetry service by just calling the initialize analytics. And yeah, so I think it's good if we demo it. So this will be the package, and here in example we have the demo. We have the demo for the demo app we use to just fire different events to see how it reacts and how the dashboard is populated. And from here we have a headless app, which now we call it's an analytics core. What it does is that it onboards the same art sign. It onboards the same art sign as the art sign you're going to use to build your apps. And when you build the apps on those apps, we call it a namespace. A namespace is an independent art sign which belongs to an app. So this analytics core onboard the namespace of those apps. And as you can see here, I'm onboarding. For now, my core is digital 23, So I can onboard here. I will show it. I will show exactly how to do that, and listen to different events, analytic events, and write them to do some calculations, and then uh, save it to our secondary server to be consumed by the console. And here, the last one is the console itself, because now we need the end user or the quality assurance people to just have a dashboard and don't worry about uh, those long error logs and stuff like that. So here is the dashboard, uh, which also onboard the namespace of apps you have developed. The namespace of apps, the namespace, which is an at sign, which is a namespace of apps you have developed with the at sign at protocol. So I think it will be good if I start with the engine first of all. So I'm going to start by let's say I think I should make everything big here and this one. You excuse me, I'm having flu since yesterday, so my sound might not be very good, but I think I can make the best out of it. So uh, so okay, so let's start the engine, and it's onboarding now our namespace. Let's give it some time, and okay, connecting. There we are. Okay, connected. As you can see here now, we are connected, and these are different events. But also, let's start our demo app, which will our demo app as usual will try to inject some events so that we can see how the dashboard gets populated. So let's launch this. I think the engine is up and running. Yes, the engine is up and running, and right now it's listening to different keys. But also here, this is the dashboard. I will run it. Let's first the example app to finish loading. Then we will also launch that. So the basic idea is that when you develop apps with Art Platform and you import this package, what happens is that if you want an analytic event to be tracked, you just call the API and say that I want to track this, and you give it a value and it will be tracked, and the data will be persisted to the namespace of your apps. About keys creation, as you can understand, is that every app will the way the analytic event works is that when you fire an analytic event, it creates a shared key which it shares with the namespace of the app. And what happens is that those shared keys just live for 6 seconds. So it's not like when a user will use this, when developers use the analytic platform, that the ad signs of the users of the apps will have a lot of keys. No, it won't, because the keys will self-destroy after just 6 seconds, and those 6 seconds are enough for the analytic engine to fetch the necessary data value from that key and do some analytics calculations, and we are done. So I think I made a mistake not running this before. Hopeful now. Any questions? I will welcome now while we are waiting for this to launch. Okay, so Here we have it. I can assure you, my Mac was a bit faster before the demos. It's just demos. Okay, this is almost completed. Okay, so we'll have to onboard there, but before onboard, let's also run the console here. So as you can see in our example here, this is an example app which will be an app developed by another developer using who is also using that platform and has also integrated the art platform package, the art platform, the analytic package. So I'm just going to onboard here. Make my keys. As you can see here, so this is just a demo app, and this is my art sign. So I can invoke different analytics event, things like logging, navigation, events. Okay, initialize the telemetry service. There is also a telemetry service in the Art Client SDK, which provides telemetry data when when you successfully put data or not successfully put data on a secondary server. So all those can be categorized as analytic event. Let's say perhaps here we log verbal execution if it's successful or not. If it's not, now our quality assurance person can just see that, oh, the app we have deployed on the wild, the verbal execution is failing. Okay, it's not. So let's wait for the console to be up and running so that we can see some data which has already been aggregated of different events. And here is the headless app, or the core of the analytical platform, which now does the basic calculation of different events and aggregates that data on its secondary server, because it's a namespace of these apps. Okay, here we have it. Okay, here we have it here. We're almost there, guys. We are almost there. So here it is. I will also onboard. Now this is the console where we'll have our quality assurance person looking at, and we are onboarding it. Remember, we're onboarding it using the same namespace we have used developing our apps. Okay. So I think it's up and running. So yes, so I can go to the dashboard now, which is a basic dashboard, and you can see the different analytic events here. And what I want to demo now is that, let's say that a user has logged an event. Perhaps we have said that let's log an event, a random event, let's say a generic event or a navigation event. Let's log a navigation event. What we'll see is that the engine, the headless app, which now is the analytic engine for me, how I name it, will detect that, okay, there is an event being logged, okay, and what it does, it takes that event, it takes that key, which is an event, and do some calculation. Like for now, we're just aggregating the number of events happening on apps deployed out there, and then we'll have our console reflect the analytic console now. Or the dashboard here, the analytic dashboard will reflect now the event live. So let's say let's say the event count is 196 and a certain user perhaps logs an event like this. We'll see now the engine I've demonstrated will happen, and from 196, um, we give it some few minutes, it will synchronize with the remote, and we'll have our new events. And wait, and it's 196, guys, remember, it's 196, 196, 196, 196, 196, 197, 198. I clicked it multiple times. So this is the way, this is the atInterns platform. I can log different events here. Let's log this, and this, and you can see the dashboard here will change accordingly. So what happens is that if there is if we, our app which is deployed using the platform encounters an error, our quality assurance guys will just in our case Tinashe, hello, we just have a dashboard and track different events happening on the apps developed or on the at platform. As you can see, the events have implemented accordingly, and everything is working very, very fine. That's the analytic platform, which is analytic platform for apps built on at platform, is very basic right now, work in progress, and I really hope that I can continue developing it and make it usable, because I think it's usable in one way or another. I can't say how much it has been a pleasure working with everyone here. I always see myself as a lucky individual to meet these nice people from all around the world. If it wasn't for visionary people like Kevin and ather founders of ArtSign, I can't see myself meeting anyone here without ArtSign. Now he has departed, but the legacy and his work still live on. May his soul rest in peace. To you, Tyler.
All right, thank you so much. What a beautiful way to end that, Kelvin. So thank you so much for your time here at atSign. It's been great having you, and I'm sure we learned just as much from you as you learned from us. So it's always a pleasure, and I'm looking forward to seeing what you do in the future.
Oh, thank you so much. If there's any questions, I'm able to answer. And yeah, I'm having a very bad flu episode, but I'm glad I successfully demoed this.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Kelvin. Please enjoy the rest of your day. I'm sure it's late there, so get your rest. Drink plenty of water for that flu.
Okay,
see you later.
You so much.
All right. Up next, we have Hamdan. Hamdan, how are you doing?
Hey, Tyler. I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm also doing good. Would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, in a minute.
All right. Yeah, and if anyone has questions for Kelvin or any of the other interns, feel free to just write them in the chat. And apologies for the music earlier. I was told that it was too low, so when I was jamming out, I probably looked like a crazy person. So I promise I'm not crazy that much. I don't think I'm that crazy. I hope everyone's enjoying their Friday today. Be sure that you're drinking water, standing regularly, all of the things.
All right. Just let me know if my screen is visible.
There we go. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey folks, this is Hamdan Ali, and this is my internship at atSign, a summary of what I learned and how I contributed. Before we move on, allow me to introduce myself. I'm an intern at atSign. I am a community builder, public speaker, and a technical content writer. I'm an Auth0 ambassador and a Postman student leader as well, where I love to speak about authentication security, identity security, authentication, and spread API awareness. I am also serving as the GDSC web lead at GDC Triple Kalyani, where I love interacting with community members and folks from across the industry and students alike. It's a really gratifying experience. All right. So my internship at Science started with this task. So before my internship, I pinged Jeremy and he helped me understand the added protocol and the verbs. That was really helpful. He was very patient with me. I hope I repay this to someone else in this industry sometime. So I picked this issue. It was that TTR, time to relive, was not being set in a public metadata, public key metadata. It was being set to null when it should actually have been to -1 by default. So I looked at it and I thought, yeah, I could do that. So I talked to Gary about the same, and he helped me. He was being very helpful. Um, at the end of this, Gary asked me to write a unit test. That was really new for me. So I learned how to write a unit test. I learned how to use mock services, learned about mocking. Big thanks to Gary for being such a sport. Big thanks to him. And big thanks to him for creating such a super informative issue. If there's something that I am taking away from this internship, it's that how to create a super informative issue just like Gary does, so that no one has to go back and forth to solve a particular issue. So yeah. Next up, I cloned the Figma prototype for AdData browser provided by Daria. This was updating the settings screen. So I precisely cloned the settings screen as it was supposed to look as per the Figma prototype. And then updated a few buttons, added a few components. Next up, I created an issue to include switch @signs in the boilerplate app. So when I first tried to run the app, create app Flutter, I had this issue where I was unable to log out. And I thought maybe the end users need to see a way to, log out or switch @signs. Maybe that would save them some time from going back and forth the docs and just have some ready boilerplate code to them. So I created this issue to include the logout or an @sign switch option in the boilerplate code itself. So when you do app, just like Flutter create app and app, you get a boilerplate itself to switch @signs. That would be really helpful. All right. So I also had a bunch of tasks with Hakeem. It was kind of DevRel tasks. I love doing those. So my first of them was collecting insights for communities for SSH-NP, which is SSH no-pods. So I collected information about some DevOps and system admin communities, what they're up to market these SSH no-pods in those communities when the time is right. I collected links to Discord, Reddit, and Slack channels, some of the most active ones at least. The outcome of the task was that I talked to a few community leaders in and around Kolkata and Kalyani region. I got a lot of energy around SSH no-pods. Folks were like really excited for this breakthrough. It is clearly a breakthrough of the decade, guys. You should try this out. We need this. So I got leads to DrevTron and other communities, some of the most active ones, and I scouted some Discord servers where we could, spread the word about the same. Next up, there's a small task of adding fonts and updating background to the atData browser. This is something I did with Kirtley. So I had to add Poppin's font and update the background color as required by the Figma prototype. So I did just that. Okay, this one was improving pub score for @onboarding Flutter. This was kind of new for me. One of the tasks which was packed with lessons. So I learned about how to use Panna, how to use Dart Analyze. Panna is a great tool to give you scores, Flutter pub scores, before you publish your app. That's really helpful. And it also gives you some of the tools and some of the things that you need to fix in order to improve that score. That's really helpful. So big thanks to Xavier for being such a good mentor. I really had a fun time solving this issue. So at the end of this, I improved the pub score for @onboarding Flutter by another 10 points. So it's now at 130 or 140, which is like cool. Okay. So the next one was, this is an issue that Kirtley faced while trying the @onboarding Flutter package. he wanted to use the at onboarding result enum and just that. And in order to do that, he had to import a lot of other files, lot of the instance variables. So he wanted an at onboarding enum to be fixed. So I extracted at onboarding enum from the at onboarding dart file, result screen.dart file, to an at onboarding.dart file, which will allow him to do just that. If he needs the result enum, he'll get the result enum by importing at onboarding result, at onboarding.dart file. It was nice fixing this issue. Okay, next I worked on brainstorming ways to increase SSH NoPod's Twitter engagement. So we have a new Twitter account. It's a child account for that sign company. It's a special account for SSH NoPods. So I had to work on thinking ways to increase engagement in that account. Come up with posts, contents, or giveaways. Some of the key outcomes that I came up with was educational contents in 3 forms, which is like either a text educational content or a short video or like image posts. That would be really helpful for the community, and that would really boost engagement on SSH NoPods Twitter. Next up was giveaways and collabs with 12labs. 12labs are Twitter celebrities, so that would really help us spread the word about how good of a tool SSH NoPods is. These 12labs could help us spread the word. Next up is Twitter Spaces. We could host Twitter Spaces and invite special guests, just like we do at Twitter Fridays. That would be really fun to see happening at Sign. All right. Next up, I did get a chance to host an info session of my own. So I took an info session on Angular custom pipes. So I covered what are custom pipes, why create custom pipes, what are some built-in pipes in Angular, and specifically how do I create a custom pipe in Angular. That was really fun. I got some really good feedbacks from the team. It was really nice having this info session. It was really nice having this opportunity. All right. Next up, I did an internal demo in SSH NoPods to the team. I helped Noble set up SSH NoPods on his machine. This was kind of being like an internal DevRel for the team, which I've always wanted to be. I love that, and big thanks to Tyler for being so helpful with that, and big thanks to Jeremy for creating such a helpful doc. This process went like really smooth. Noble had SSH NoPods up and running on his system. That was really nice. So he can go spread the word to his community members and to the ones he's actually marketing to. All right. Next, I helped the team with Flutter Fridays FF16, which was on June 16. What I did was I skimmed through the doc, Flutter and Dart official docs in search for questions, and I modified questions after a controversy check from the team. And I brought the Tyler energy, or at least tried to bring the Tyler energy to the live stream. Yeah, that's something that is one of the key takeaway from this. If I have to host a session sometime, if I have to do a live stream, Tyler energy is something definitely I am looking forward to. I want that in my live stream. All right. My next task with Hakeem was finding sysadmin DevOps influencers. So I had to find 12labs or influencers to help promote SSH NoPod or invite them for Twitter Spaces. So initially what I thought of a way to do this was I had elevated access to the Twitter API, and I had played with the API before. So I thought, why not just search for bio on everyone who has SSH NoPods and then look for engagement and other metrics. But very soon I found out I had no access because that Twitter API was no longer free. That elevated access was even no longer free. It was paid now. So I had to manually go through all of the Twitter celebs. I had to manually go to a lot of Twitter accounts, look for their bios, look for the engagement metrics, and find some 12labs in the industry. One of the other approach that I took was I went to some GitHub repos that sysadmins contributed to. So they were like sysadmin interview questions or some tools. And I went to those contributor section and I found out some of the really key big players in sysadmin communities. They had a really good GitHub profile and a really good connected one, actually. So I found some other influencers that way. All right. I also helped host Flutter Friday 17 with that was on June 30, featuring Kendi J. again, I skimmed through some docs, found some questions. I loved doing that. I loved finding the questions. It was kind of very gratifying. Again, some controversy check, and again trying to bring some Tyler energy into the live stream. That was really cool. That was really fun. All right. Next up, I created a verbose logging utility for atc. So Jeremy wanted a logger for atc repository where he could specifically log certain events as per his will. So I created just that. I created a print x, @logger x, and @logger utility for @logger atc package. It's a logging utility for the same. All right. So the next step, my next task was removing old demos and updates from README. So there's a repo called @demos, which hosts all of the @sign demos. You should specifically, if you are new into this sphere, you should specifically go check them out. They're really helpful and really well written to help you get started. So what I did was removed some old demos and updated the README accordingly. So I added SSH no posts README, which Jeremy created, and @notifications README, which again Jeremy created. So yeah, I helped with creating that. Okay. Next step was finding some sysadmins and DevOps GitHub projects. This was my last task with Akeem. We kind of have a weekly sync. That was the last week. Finding GitHub projects or sysadmins, finding GitHub projects that sysadmins or DevOps people contribute to was the task. And where I started with some Reddit conversations. I learned some of the tools that these DevOps or sysadmin folks use in the industry. Then I found some links to the repositories and then links to the contributors themselves. I kind of loved working with Hakeem on all these tasks. I loved his energy. He kind of radiates a happy vibe. I'm definitely taking that away with whatever group I'm working with next. If I want to be as radiant as someone, it is definitely him. So yeah. My next task was modularizing SSH no-pods. Make SSH no-pods more modular. So this was a part of the task where Gary refactored SSH no-pods, and I had to refactor SSH no-pods daemon, SSH NPD on the similar lines. So I did just that, and I also created a unit test for the same. I created a unit test to check the parameter variables and if everything's working fine. So yeah, there was a lot to learn in the same, and I really enjoyed doing this. My next task was creating a groups view for Atmosphere Pro with Daria. So the way Daria suggested this was create some wireframes first using pen and paper, and then move to the actual Figma part. So I created about a bunch of 12 frames. These are some of the most presentable ones. I labeled them very meaningfully, like what each button represents and where it should go. And then I moved to the Figma part. I'm in active talks with Daria, so this one is kind of in progress. What this does is I have to multi-delete. See, there are multiple buttons. Add a member or move to group view. This is the group view for Atmosphere Pro, by the way. So if I select and hold on multiple users, I get the option to move them to a specific group. I get the option to remove them from this group, and I get an option to add more members to the same group. So there is a lot to design right now. I have to come up with ways on how to give a visual confirmation whether or not you want to actually delete those individuals from the specific group. I want to give them a visual confirmation on what happens when you move to a new group. So when you move them to a new group, your entire view changes to that new group. That is something I'm yet to do, and that is something I close today. So yeah, that was all. That's a wrap. Thank you so much for having me here. Thank you so much, folks. Let's connect, by the way. I love to be connected with you even after my internship. So yeah, if you have any questions, now is a very good time.
All right. Wow, that's fantastic, Hamdan. Thank you so much. You did so much. All of you interns did so much this summer. It's so great to see. It really brings a smile to my face. I really appreciate all of the hard work and the time you've spent what's really cool is how you branch out and you're exploring other things like trying to bring the Tyler energy. I don't. I I really appreciate that. Thank you. I'm sure that's a
It's
good
true.
thing to have the Tyler energy. But I think you did fantastic. Hakeem asked, "What is your favorite challenge that you faced?"
All right. It was specifically creating mocks for my unit test, which was my first task. That was something I have never done before, and I aced it kind of. So yeah, Gary helped me a lot. Gary helped me big time. So yeah, that was the most challenging and kind of the most interesting task overall.
Awesome. Oh, favorite project.
All right, that's tough. That's tough. All of the AtSign repos are so cool. They're so easy to understand. The issues are so well written. Um, if I have to select one, I'll say it's SH No Ports. SH No Ports is
Yeah,
kind of my personal favorite. It is the breakthrough of the decade, guys. I'm saying that over and over again. You need to try this.
it is. Honestly, if you haven't, you should check it out. I'm sure one of us will drop the link in the chat for it. I think there is a link for it. Should be. But yeah, thank you so much, Hamdan. It's been great having you, man.
Thank you so much for having me here.
All the
Thank you so much,
best in
Tyler.
your
Thank you so much, team.
course. All right. Thank you. See you later. Let
See you later.
me- Oh, I kind of cut him off, but okay. Up next, we have Wesley. Wesley, how you doing today?
Hello, I'm doing good.
All right. So feel free to share your screen.
Share screen.
Man, here we go. Here we go.
Okay.
And
So
there you
it
go. The
says,
floor is yours.
So just like a brief introduction, my name is Wesley, and I was this year's incoming marketing intern. So my experience was a little more different. So how I'm going to approach this presentation is I'm going to do a brief summary of what I did in the first 4 weeks, and then do a longer story for what I did for the remainder. So let's get into it. So before we start, let's do a recap from the first demo day. I don't want to showcase everything because it would take a little too long. So we're gonna kind of breeze through this one first. So what I started in my first 2 weeks was editing some older footage that just needed some captioning and cutting. So I finished my first long format videos, which is the generating your ad keys video, as well as how to get your ad keys, and the ESP32 video. On top of that, I also helped Tyler and Hakeem cut up the UMass undergraduate demo day video. So there was 2 of those, and I helped cut all the moments out so it was a little more seamless when we upload it to YouTube. And those are up now for anybody who wants to watch. I also, in my first 4 weeks, wanted to try a new recording format that we can do across the company, which was changing it from 16:9 to 32:9, so that we can show more faces and do a little more effects and transitions, so the videos would feel a little more lively. On top of that, in my first 4 weeks, I also tried learning Figma for the first time, at least in an app setting. So I designed this persona page where it would kind of have toggles, and I helped Daria contribute. I contributed to Daria's AtBuzz project here. So this was my contribution with the toggle on and off, and then when you click the search bar, it would expand into like search bar mode type of thing. And in my first 4 weeks, I also learned a lot about scripting and creative writing. So I helped write some. I tried to help write how the app platform works video with Tyler and Hakeem, and I'll get more into that when we get into the demo day 2 section of this presentation. I also helped Noble write a little bit, but I didn't really contribute too much there. But a lot of my writing time was with scripting. So my recap from my goals that I said I would do by demo day 2, which is right now, is my promise was I would at least edit 10 videos in any form, which is long format shorts or an advertisement. I wanted to contribute more to content writing, which would be in any form, whether it's an article or just writing scripts. And I wanted to learn more about UI UX, but I wanted to learn more about how to use the tools. And then maybe by learning how to be more good with the tools, I would see whether or not I like the UI UX kind of space industry. So let's get into demo day 2. here. Oh, my butter's not working. Okay, so week 5 rolls around. And there was a lot of workshops this week, and I was just kind of listening into all the meetings. But one that stood out and that connected to my goals in particular was the Figma workshop with Jeremy and Dario, where I learned more about some shortcuts and use cases for Figma. So I never really tried making advertisements with Figma. I always was making I guess websites and apps. So I tried that, and I also learned more about design systems from Dario's advanced workshop, and a little more shortcuts such as just like selecting things, because I used to just spam the mouse over and over, but it turns out there's a shortcut to just click the exact component, so that helped quite a bit. But little things like that is what I picked up. And during these workshops, I made 2 things, one in Jeremy's and one in Dario's. So this was the one I learned from Jeremy's workshop. I just made like a basic introduction to Atmosphere Pro thing, and then in Dario's I made the same thing, but it's not as great. This is like a little off. Maybe like I only spent like 10 minutes on it, but this is what I created by following along with those workshops, and it helped me kind of see what I can do with advertising and Figma. Later on that week, I mostly spent it writing a basic SSH noteport script, and after I helped write a basic script, I ran it by Jeremy and Xavier. So the purpose of this script was to replace the current SSH noteports marketing video. And in order to write the basic script, I kind of just paraphrased the old one and cut out parts that were filler. And then I ran it through Jeremy, who's an @buddy, and Xavier L, who's another intern, just so it was just like as the first round to see who wanted to talk and who wanted to do the live, because we all happen to live in the same area. So Jeremy ended up saying that he would film it live, and he contributed a lot with the script, and so did Xavier. So this was just like the first round. And week 6 rolls around. So from the marketing, specifically as like a marketing intern, week 6 was a bit slower just because everybody was flying out, and no one was like recording new content for me to edit. So I decided to kind of pick things up and figure some stuff on my own. So week 6, I finished an SSH Noteport installer draft with Jeremy, and I wanted to at least attempt to make a theme for SSH Noteports. So I'm not going to show the entire video because it's like 10 minutes long, but I'll show the introduction. I don't know if the sound is going to show, and I can't see the chat, but at least you can see the intro here. This is like a rough copy, but and then there's a transition. I just wanted to kind of make a theme and see if I can like tie in a closing port theme into an introduction. So maybe in the future someone can use mine as like a blueprint and make a much better quality version, or use that one. I'm sending all the blanks to the shared drive after, so you guys can do whatever you need with my work that I've done here. So after I finished the SSH Noteport installer draft video, we sent it for feedback, and we're going to make changes to that. And this also needs captioning, but we're doing that after the feedback, so let's skip that here. And right after I finished editing that on week 6, I started to finish drafting the SSH Noteport marketing script. So after I did my first round with Jeremy and Xavier and Hakeem, we spent the next 3-4 days kind of fixing up the script and adding intros and conclusions. And we sent it out for a feedback from the company. We got a lot of good feedback and added and removed certain things that were accurate or not accurate and were missing. So we fixed it up from there. So that was my week 6. Week 6 was just kind of planning and anticipating for stuff for week 7 and 8. Right after we finished, I started week 7 by everyone flew back from California, I believe, at least most people. And Hakeem messages me that he took a live demo with the, I guess like LoRaWAN demo that Colin's made, but it was shot on iPhone, so the audio was a little off. And I'll do like, I'm not gonna show the whole video, but I will play maybe like 10 seconds of it. So there was a lot of like background noise. I don't know if, let me check if the chat's working, the audio's working. Webcam, sorry, oops, my fault. Um, sorry. So there's like a lot of background noise happening with it, and I tried to use my normal like effects in Premiere Pro, but it wasn't working. So I taught myself how to mix with Adobe Audition. So this isn't the actual screenshot, but like this is just like what it normally looks like. So I learned how to mix professionally, at least with like a professional software. So it was my first time mixing and trying to remove like specific noises. So I learned how to see the sound patterns within the actual like chart here, and I would just delete them individually. And I can't show I don't want to show the entire demo because it's a little long, but I ended up making a TikTok for it, which I'll showcase right now, and maybe you guys can hear the difference. So it is still a little choppy, but it was a significant improvement from the original audio, and it improved just enough where when it was uploaded, Rack Wireless did reach out to atSign, and I think they're gonna do some collaborative marketing. So things like this, like fixing audio, will be very important for the future when we do like more spontaneous shoots, like in person. So anybody can shoot now. So anybody who's at FlutterCon or in California or anywhere, with this tool, there's no need for like professional mics once we start mastering this as a company tool. So that helps with the remote aspect of the company. Following that, this would be Wednesday of week 7 now. I met up with Jeremy and filmed our first live demo with him, where it was the script that I've been writing for about a week and a half at that point. And we filmed all the scripts and did some transition shots. But using the knowledge from before about isolating audio, I was able to use this mic and kind of remove wind and background noises and birds so that I didn't have to pay for like a $1,000 like wireless mic, because that was a little out of my budget. So learning how to use these tools, again, like anybody can send iPhone footage now and we can make stuff out of it. So I ended up doing that. And lastly, to end off the week, we tried to make the How Does Ad Platform Work script again. And we tried writing it, but I learned a lot from this activity in particular, because it showed me how even though like atSign as a company is very disruptive and has a lot to bring to like the market, it's still difficult to sell it to people. And it's hard to convince people to buy things that they don't fully understand. And then explaining it to people who aren't as super technical is also a challenge we kept coming into. So that was pretty eye-opening for me, because in my head before it was, if I have a good product, it'll easily sell, but there's a lot more to it that I know now. So week 8 rolls around, and over the weekend I finished editing the SSH No Ports marketing video. So this one I'm gonna have to play. I will play it for everyone here. It's only a minute long, or 2 minutes long, so we're just gonna play it. For context,
Wesley, just a note before.
Yeah.
I don't think you shared your sound, so you'd have to stop sharing, I think, and then share your sound.
Let me know when I can like on screen, just like when there's a transition. There you go. Or I'll just do it.
Yep.
Settings, audio. Man. Okay. Share screen. Screen sharing works. Use Chrome if you'd like to share. Oh.
That's okay. It's okay. Don't stress out. It's okay. We're fine.
I have to switch to I'm on Firefox, but I have to be on Chrome. It says it has to be Chrome. So
okay, no problem.
I guess I'll drop the link, or you'll see the SSH No Ports marketing video some other way, but we'll continue on forward then. It's a little awkward because there's going to be a lot of videos after this part, but I will include a drive, so anybody in the company, and eventually those who don't have access to drives might see it on the YouTube channel. So that'll be okay. So after I edited this SH Notebook marketing video,
do you want to reshare your slides?
Oh yeah, sorry.
And then I'll get out of your way. Sorry, I just wanted to let you know.
It's all good. Here we go.
Hope everyone's having a good time. Make sure you drink water. All right, back to you, Wes.
So I guess I'll just preview some parts of it. There's no audio, but you can see the captions, and it's just Jeremy talking. And then here, there's a transition, so you don't have to sit through it. So it transitions into the demo here, and it's just a live demo that I showed with Jeremy. So we're gonna skim through just here, and after that, I was given an old interview with Bruce and Hakeem. So it was shot with a normal Zoom call, kind of just horizontal like this. But if we go through here, I was able to put it into, make it look like they're just conversing, so it'll just switch back. Yep. So I just did that for the whole interview, and that was Tuesday of week 8. So then after Tuesday to Thursday, I went on a TikTok editing spree. After the shooting the SH Notebook marketing video, that was my project. So I wanted to spend the last 4 days doing something else. So I got curious and I went through the interns 2022 reels and saw that some of them needed some refreshing or could use like a little more tweaking with the editing, and some were just not made. There was a lot of voice recordings that I found, and I guess no one got around to making them, so I just decided to just give it a shot. And the ones that I'm going to present here, I made multiple, but I'm not going to showcase all 10. But the ones that I will showcase will just kind of prove that we don't need to spend, like with the reels, there's already like very rinse and repeat systems here at atSign. And I'll explain what that means when we get into it. There's going to be no audio, so it's going to be a little awkward. But even without the audio, it should be okay. I can still explain what I mean. So you can't hear it, but here Daria's talking here, and she's kind of reading, but we can see the style here. And on this one, which is the one I made, it's a little more, there's like music in the back, and it's also talking, but there's also sound effects and pictures popping up. So I did this with some of the previous interns last year. I took some of their recordings and just did this for a few of them that I could find. And after that, I decided to after that, I decided to go through the Flutter Friday highlights and make some TikToks out of that. So here's an example of a Flutter Friday TikTok, but there's no sound, so it's a little awkward, but there's a lot of more pop-ups, and it's just to show that we don't really need to spend so much time on scripting, but we already have so much content to edit that if we really wanted to bring back like the atSign TikTok page, we could just keep making 2 videos from Flutter Friday every week and then go through our older content and live demos. We would already have in one night I made 10 TikToks, and that's enough to bring the page. And if we really spent like a longer time just going through what we had, we'd have a full atSign page. And to go like this would tie in with growing Flutter Friday as well, because with podcast or other podcasts, most of the growth isn't really from just people seeing it, but they see TikToks like this and then they'll want to tune in the week after. So if we made 2 Flutter Friday reels a week or more and then upload those, eventually they would show up on people's phones, and they would want to feel inclined to tune in for the next week and the week after and so forth. So it's kind of a very rinse and repeat system that doesn't really need planning. After the Flutter Friday TikToks that I edited, I wanted to prove that we can use our old Zoom calls or workshops to make interview TikToks or just conversation TikToks about atSign, right? So there's already a lot of archive meetings or workshops or even speeches that are live that that are on Zoom call, and here I kind of turned them into a conversation. There's music in the background, but this is just to show that we already have so much content that isn't being showcased on the atSign page that we can turn into shorts and possibly bring back the TikTok from last year. Just skim through that. Some other TikToks that I went out to make was Hump Day highlights from last year. I made a Collins SSH no port highlight from his recent speech about TCP dumps and SSH no ports. And I also just made some funny moments that I found on the company page, as well as we can go through the list here. These are some redos, demo day. I made a live of Jeremy's TikTok, and then these are just I guess casual moments throughout the Flutter Friday streams and other demos that I could find throughout the page. So here, since the internship is leaving, and I made 10 TikToks that could be recycled over and over and over for, I guess, the rest of the time. How can we keep it up? So I wrote down my entire process in the video guidelines doc. So I kind of shifted it from video guidelines to guide to video editing, where everything that I talked about today, whether it came from audio correction to making the TikToks to future plans to how we can recycle Zoom calls and how we can recycle Flutter Fridays into almost infinite amount of short form content, can all be found on this video guidelines doc. So I mean, this is pretty much what I was explaining here. And they also included, when we do scale like forward with media, I brought up very niche situations that we might not even be considering right now. So let's take Colin's presentation, for example. There might be a day where we want to show a demo, and let's paint like just a made up situation here. Everybody's in San Francisco again, and it's a company presentation on a big stage, but we edited the video on a laptop. Maybe at the time there might not be like a video editor on site, so it's okay, let's just edit it on the fly. But you mixed it for a laptop, or we did mix it only for an iPhone, and didn't consider that we didn't mix it for stage speakers. And when the video plays on the stage speaker, there's going to be buzzing or background noises that we would never have heard on the laptop or the iPhone. This doc covers these very specific situations, so it can show you how to mix it for far into the future for videos that would be on stage as well. So learning Adobe Audition is like a very, very powerful tool that I think after this, someone at the company can look at the guide I wrote and kind of learn how to do it for themselves, because it's very, very important. When I was making all the TikToks or even the videos, I would mix it for my laptop, and then I would also mix it for my iPhone. So sometimes the laptop would be, I would hear the music, but then on the iPhone it would be too quiet. But if we went on a stage, this might be even more messier. So sometimes these things are overlooked, especially with audio. So that's something we should look into. I also talked about how to copy paste the TikToks. So what to remove, the thought process on how to just make it. So it kind of changes it from something that takes 2 hours to 3 hours to I was averaging about 20 minutes per reel, and I made 10. So if we spent a week, we can stack it up really high. And yeah, so did I reach my 8-week goal that I set at demo day 1? Yes. So I edited 8 long format videos, all with a full editing package with captions, audio fixing, as well as just effects and pictures popping up. I made 10 TikToks that are uploaded right now, and there will be more coming. One of them will be the San Francisco trip that Jeremy filmed. I'm turning that into a TikTok we can all use. And I also wrote a lot of documents and scripts, most notable being the video guide doc that will be shared to the company after this demo. And I also learned a lot about Figma and sparked like me to go deeper with my learning within UI UX and the process within this space. And yes, lessons learned with atSign. So I learned that there is a a space for creativity and tech in one kind of unified way. At the time, I was struggling with whether I could have to be in engineering or to be in the tech space. For some background, I have studied mechatronics engineering, so that was one thing I always wondered, and I found out that it's nice to have the techno background, but there's a lot of space within the tech industry for my creative side as well. So that was my biggest takeaway from atSign. And yes, thank you for listening. And I want to do a special thank you for everyone at the atSign company for helping me further my learning, and thank you for this opportunity. Thank you.
Wow, that's great stuff, Wesley. Thank you so much. You did so much work, man. All of you interns have really impressed me today. I mean, I was there for most of your work and seeing your updates, but seeing it all come together and seeing what you did throughout all 8 weeks is always so impressive. And thank you so much for going through our content from last year and bringing that back and resurfacing it for us, because I remember that is something we wanted to do, but haven't had the time or strength to do it. So that's amazing stuff, Wesley, and thank you for setting that up for us to work on later down the road.
Thank you.
All right, are there any questions? Go once, go twice. That's awesome stuff, honestly. I liked your final stats slide. That was cool. I like that.
Thank you.
All right, well, thank you so much, Wesley. It was great having you.
Thank you.
All right, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye. All right, up next we have Xavier. Xavier Lin, how you doing? Welcome.
I'm doing good.
Jamming.
Yeah, I've been jamming to the music. I don't know if you saw it, but
I definitely saw. Don't worry, I was jamming with you. All right, so here are your slides. You have the floor.
okay, awesome. Let's get started. I just want to share my wonderful experience I've had with atSign. It's truly been a huge adventure, and it's a wonderful experience with like the atSign family, I guess I'd like to call it. Quick intro. I'm Xavier, based in Ontario, Canada. My goal with the internship was to learn as much about software development as a whole. And yeah, I learned a lot. I'm going to go through maybe 2 demos if we have the time. And then some stuff I learned along the way and from other coworkers. And yeah. So just some, I guess, kind of like a stat sheet like like Wesley did. I did some teamwork stuff, split it into 2 categories. I helped intern takeover, hosted by Doug and Hamdan. Shout out those 2. They're awesome hosts. And I kind of got prodded to do sprint planning by Kim and Xavier C. So I ran that. And then thanks to Jeremy's SSH import demo, I helped some coworkers get that running. Shout out to Don. I tried to get him set up with that. Unfortunately, we didn't get that running yet, but I think we got it. And then some coding stuff. I just tried my best to like do as much as I could. There's some stuff in @apps, some stuff in @widgets, some stuff in @client, some bug fixes, some stuff in @tools, just whatever I could find and was interested in, I do. And specifically like my Dart REPL and the new project that I've started working on, but it's incomplete, unfortunately. But if I get the demo, well, if I have time to show the demo, I'll do it. And let's start with the @REPL. So it's going to be a different type of demo this time. So last time I was in the terminal. This time I want to show it specifically a use case for it. So it's a developer tool that will allow you, I'll just run it just to show you guys. It's a developer tool that allows you to interact with the app platform. Oh, my terminal is all full. Anyways, that doesn't matter. Yes, it allows you to interact with the app platform. It's really helpful, I find, at least, for when I need to debug issues with my code when it's using the app platform, and just all sorts of stuff. So here I've connected into it. You can, there's all the commands I have. You can scan, etc. It just, as I said, interacts with the app platform. So here I have set up let's call that VS Code workspace. So I can add several different repos into my workspace, and now I can interact with them. So what this allows me to do is it allows me to make changes to, let's say I'm doing a bug fix at the client SDK. I can make changes and immediately test it. Whatever I want, see if it works, use the app, my app REPL. And yeah, so I'll kind of just show you the process with that. I'm using the launch JSON. So I have this set up. And then for my pub spec, I have an override to my path for the client SDK. And I'll just show you guys a quick demo for it. So this was like kind of related to a bug I did. I was kind of fixing these symmetric shared keys that were giving some errors with a specific function. So let's say if I do hello demo day, and then I'll give it a run. I'll just refresh it. And I guess I should have shown what it was like before, but we kind of saw. It gave like this big spiel about how a proper like exception message, but this time I've replaced it with hello demo day, and we'll just let it run. Okay, let me find the yeah, so something like this. I think would like that. So you can see the changes right away. You don't need to do any backwards, like some shenanigans around like all this dependencies. You can do it straight in, and just any changes are immediately shown in the REPL, and it's awesome. That's kind of what I've been working on, just making sure the REPL is working, make sure there's no issues, but most of the systems are already in place, so that's good. I think I have time to do this because it's very short. It's a project I've been working on this week, starting this week. So I kind of started the Tuesday, and I haven't had much time to work on it, but we will try our best to do this. So we've got SSH no ports on this side. This is the Dart version, the one on the right. And then the one on the left is going to be our Python version. So it's not fully running yet. As I said, it's incomplete. But right now I've got the incoming notifications from SSH no ports are being handled properly. So we are good. Let's try it. Good. Okay, let's do it. So I'm going to start the SSH no port daemon side first. It's going to give me some messages. The monitor started, and then I'm going to give the SSH no port side running. So it gets the private key, it gets the public key, and it gets the SSH callback. So I've handled all of the exceptions. Now the next step for this is obviously actually connecting and sending back the request. But that's kind of what I've been working on this last week, and I've been really enjoying it. It's been awesome. And yeah, so kind of some concluding statements. There's so many wonderful info sessions during my stay at atSign. I learned so much from everybody. There's so many intern sessions like where they ran info sessions. There's a lot of people within the company that ran info sessions, and I learned so much from them. Those are some that kind of stood out to me. And of course, I have some personal learning. I said it's more like stuff I learned myself, like whether it's like making mistakes or just like going through like and learning new stuff on like Google, or like skills I learned. So learning how to like work with production code. And like I'm pretty young, I've never worked at a company before, so I don't know like etiquette on kind of how to like communicate within the company, setting up meetings, all that sorts of stuff. And I learned all of it from atSign, and it's just wonderful. These are some 3 things that I've learned from 3 different people during my stay. Xavier C, they didn't really say this, these are not direct quotes, but kind of things that stuck with me while they speak or while I interact with them. So for Xavier C, there's like a lot to do within atSign as a company, and he always told me to if I was always acting as like myself, like if you be yourself, try the things you like, you'll find your place here within atSign. And I always felt that was really true, and I really feel like at home when I'm with atSign. So that's kind of Xavier's message. And then Jeremy, I had a lot of working sessions with Jeremy where I worked on stuff that I had no clue what I'm doing in it. And then Jeremy, he's trying his best to like help me, and he has no clue. And he'd always say like, at least we're lost together. And I feel like that's a good message. Everyone's human, right? So no one knows everything. And I feel like if everyone works together, we'll always make it at the end. So kind of the same thing with Hakeem. Hakeem always mentioned that atSign's one big family, and everyone has a lot on their plate, and we're always here to help each other out. So it's kind of like a family environment, and I really enjoyed that. And finally, there's something that has been hyped up since the start of my internship, and it was dad jokes. I was promised a lot of dad jokes. I did not get that many dad jokes, but there was one person who I think exceeded my expectation with one dad joke. Now I'd like to announce the winner, and it is Scott. He is the best dad joke winner. Incredible dad joke. I rate it 10 out of 10. But yeah, that's the end of my presentation.
That's so funny. I love Scott.
All
right, thank you so much,
for
dude.
so long.
That was awesome. What a wholesome presentation there too with the quotes. You're gonna make me cry, man.
Yeah, it's
all right.
I had lots of fun at atSign. It was very like a friendly environment, and I learned a lot from everybody. So I thought I would share.
It was great having you. Looking forward to seeing what you'll do in the future. Since you're so young, you're in first year and you did all of this. That's incredible, man.
Thanks.
That's man, so rare. And it was great having you. Thank you so much, Xavier.
Oh, thank you.
All right, here we go. Doug, we are up to our last three. Certainly not least at all. Doug, how you doing?
Good, thanks. How are you, Tyler?
I'm doing well. You have the floor once you get your slides up. There we go.
Okay, you guys can just
Dang.
see all my messages. There we go.
Right. Oh, of course.
Thanks very much. All right. Hey, guys, I'm Doug. So what did I get up to on this internship? The first thing I did was to try and understand the app protocol and the platform and the tech. I went through and created a mermaid or a sequence diagram about sort of like how you would exchange data from one client to another. I found this really, really helpful, sort of just to like, at first it was just like a learning tool for me to try and figure out how it all worked, but hopefully this got merged in with the documentation, which was really cool. So hopefully that will help other people as well. Then I created a Gitbook doc about all my findings, which will hopefully be useful internally. Another thing was I went on Flutter Fridays a few times, even hosted one of them. I think Flutter Fridays is great, really good way of just interacting with the community and all that. I also gave an info session on Vim, so hopefully no one gets stuck inside Vim and can't exit anymore. Also another highlight for me was testing and we did like a teaching of SSH no ports. I think that's a really good way of just sharing information. And then finally, the big one is the Rust SDK, which was my main project here during my internship. Got the first version merged in, and it's now alpha and available for everyone to see. So what I'm going to talk about now is basically the Rust SDK, a bit about some of the like implementation details, a bit about Rust, because it's a bit more of a new programming language. So first, why Rust? Firstly, it's blazingly fast, as everyone knows, but genuinely, I think it's basically 99% the speed of C in most use cases. It promises memory safety in the fact that you can't have any memory issues. The compiler won't let you write code that will have memory issues. I if I remember correctly, the something like 70% of all like big security vulnerabilities are due to memory issues. So if you use Rust, you're never going to have those issues. There's fearless concurrency. So this is one of their sort of like main things is the concurrency being like multi-threaded or like parallelism is sort of like baked into the program as like a first-class citizen. You know, we all have devices now, or like pretty much every single device has at least 2 cores, if not more. So might as well make use of them. Also, it has a huge number of compile targets, you know, from iOS, Android, Linux, Windows, macOS to the sort of more niche ones like embedded devices. And also mainly because it's really cool. It's kind of up and coming, and I was like, you know, I want to learn this, I want to use it. It was a bit like, I guess, Flutter a few years ago. You know, it was up and coming, everyone was talking about it, and where Flutter is now the most popular cross-platform UI framework. What is currently available in the Rust SDK is there's a full suite of cryptographic stuff, AES, RSA, SHA-256, Base64. You can get the location of an at server. You can authenticate with the at server using PCAM. You can send data, receive data, or read the data, and also you can pass in your own TLS client, which I'll touch on a bit more moving forward. So, demo time. Let's get some actual code up. Here we are. So first, I want to just give a little showcase of what it can do. So I've got a couple of examples. Let's see here. So this one will send data. It's going to send hello there from 42 territorial to Virgo gigantic, which is 2 random at signs that I have. So we'll see here, send it along, live demo, and yeah, it worked. So here we can see it extracts the keys from the file, decodes them, decrypts them, gets the at server address, PCAM authenticates with the at server. Yeah, there's the challenge that gets signed, looks up the shared key, gets that, encrypts the data, and we get the confirmation at the other end there. And then we can go the other way and read what was sent, all end-to-end encrypted. And basically the same process, but hello there. We get that out. Cool. So I wanted to talk about some of like the sort of like decisions that I made throughout this process. So on the architecture side, we've got the at client, which is kind of the center of it all. And this is basically what anyone that wants to implement, use this, implementers of this library will sort of interact with. So, I mean, there's just 3 methods at the moment. There's the initialization, and it's like, hey, I want to send data. And then there's also, I want to read the data. So basically, yeah, this exposes the methods to do the stuff. Then I decided to create a sort of struct which, holds the secret information. Then something I'm quite proud about is there's the at shops sort of module. This is where all like the cryptographic stuff happens, but I actually split it up into 2 separate parts. One is the at shops part, which is what the sort of like the verbs or the client will interact with, which kind of has like the specific methods for doing things that are like specific to the app protocol. But then there's also the sort of like util section, which is like pure low-level cryptography stuff. And what I'm going to do in the future, what I'd like to do in the future at the moment is just a bunch of like functions. But in the future, I'd like sort of wrap it up and then create like a trait for it, so that you could sort of like swap the actual like implementation in and out depending on the platform. So if you're using some hardware which has, can do hardware accelerated crypto stuff, that becomes a lot easier. One of the problems that I did come across actually was the one of the problems I did come across was sort of like knowing whether like a string is actually a string or is it a string representation of binary data that's been base64 encoded. So I created a sort of like wrapper struct around a string, which basically could be used to sort of just let me know that, yeah, this is base64 encoded. I haven't actually implemented that. It's all here ready to go in. I haven't done that yet. And then the sort of the other part is the verbs. So you have your sort of like interface for a verb, and then and it just has one method, execute, where you pass in the TLS client and any inputs, and this way all the verbs have, and the output as well, all the verbs have basically the same interface, which makes it easy to sort of know what's going on. So that's a sort of architectural overview, but I also wanted to, so now I want to talk about things that made, things I liked about Rust compared to other languages, and how they sort of made this project easier. So I actually really like the sort of like the module system, and you can do this cool thing where you can basically create a prelude. I don't know if you can do this any other ones, but it basically allows you to create a whole bunch of your imports, all the things you're going to use. You can put constants in here as well, and then everywhere within that module you can just use the prelude, and you don't have all these imports multiple times throughout all your different files. I thought it was very cool. The coolest part of Rust, in my opinion, is the traits, and they're kind of like interfaces on steroids. So it gives you the ability to specify objects that implement any combination of traits. So it's not just like one thing, you can like specify multiple things. So for example, in here I have this the TLS client. The way I made this sort of like configurable in a way is that I just say, hey, anything that is basically any function or callback here that implements the read-write trait, which I've defined up here, which is anything that is a writer and a reader or a stream, can be used. So basically, if anyone comes along and they've got their own TLS client they want to use for their specific hardware, they can just, as long as they pass in a function that sort of looks like this, implements these traits, then you're all good to go. And you can imagine like how sometimes you might have like multiple sort of traits you want something to implement. It basically allows you to write very generic code and reusable code, which I thought was very cool. Another feature of Rust I really liked is the sort of explicit error handling. So enums are really powerful and big in Rust. So you always know if a function is going to effectively throw, which I really liked. And so you don't have to like guess or look into the code. Okay, this is going to throw. Maybe I need to handle this or not. The other thing I really liked was the logging as well. I don't know if this is common elsewhere, but basically there's this like low-level implementation of logging. So I can put in these statements here, and then anyone that's implementing the SDK, they can then provide their own logging framework effectively. For example, endlogger here, and it will just automatically pick up on all the logging that's within the library, which just seems really handy for me. And the other thing I really like is it focuses more on composability versus inheritance, going away from the OOP paradigm. And to me, this is kind of like Flutter in a way, where it's always best to compose your widgets by sort of, building up lots of little things together, as opposed to extending existing ones. And I think that's kind of the way programming is going now, is like, inheritance and all that was very useful 10-20 years ago, but we're seeing the downsides of it now. and Rust really plays into that. But for all the good stuff, there is some bad stuff as well. So the things that I found hard when dealing with Rust was that it seems like there's no sane defaults, and things aren't as explained as well as in like Flutter or Dart, because it's kind of expected you understand the subject area. Like the crypto stuff, there was no explanation. It was kind of like, here's the low-level stuff, you deal with it and try and figure it out for yourself. I guess that's really just what systems programming language is a bit like, but that was a bit of a shock to me. And I found some of the documentation in some libraries wasn't great, to be honest. But again, it's still relatively new. So yeah, that's the end of the demo. Let's just jump back over here. So get my notes back up. A couple of other things I did want to mention is that I did try and get my Rust SDK working on an ESP32. Unfortunately, I didn't manage to get that done. Although I did learn a lot about embedded development and the sort of like its ecosystem in Rust, it kind of highlighted the importance of making the SDK more flexible, because basically some libraries wouldn't compile for the ESP32 target, which I'm sure can be overcome, such as being able to pass in your own TLS client. Probably need to do the same thing with being able to pass in your own like crypto stuff as well. Yeah. I did get Rust running on an ESP32, just not my client. Yes. So I just want to briefly talk about the next steps with the SDK. So to get it to beta, I wanted to be able to implement notifications using the monitor verb. This way, it could also be used as SSH no ports daemon. Interoperability with other SDKs, just to make sure that it plays nicely with the Dart and the Python and the Java. Need to get some good test coverage. There is some tests, but not complete coverage. And the sort of like further reaching goals would be no standard implementation. No standard is a runtime environment, I guess, for some embedded systems that might not support the sort of like full suite of the library. Want to be able to distribute it Crates.io. Crates.io is like PyPy or Dartpub. Also add support for async runtime. So Rust kind of weird in respect to like asynchronous code, in that it does support it, but there's no like runtime. So it has futures and sort of like the primitives to work with asynchronous code, but you need to choose a runtime for it. But basically, that will require some testing and some changes to the SDK. Get it to run on the MCUs. And finally, add default implementations for the TLS connection, so that anyone that uses the anyone that wants to use this SDK can maybe get some batteries included. Yeah, batteries included, but they can be changed. So this last slide, so get your questions ready. Yeah, so just a general overview of what I've achieved and some of the goals I set out. Just get better at writing Rust. I haven't really written very much, just the odd program here or there, not a full SDK. I definitely feel much more confident now. Get a chance to work with a team. I mean, couldn't ask for a better team than the atSign group. Learn about cryptography, never touched it before. Learn about networking again, read about it, but never actually had to implement it before. I wanted to understand the atSign protocol, although I still don't fully get it. I'd say I'm 80% of the way there. And finally, just be part of flipping the internet. I think the goal of atSign is amazing. That's it. Any questions?
Wow. You know what? Looking back at that, those are some really good goals and achievements, honestly. And you did all of these goals and achievements are within 8 weeks. And I think that's spectacular, honestly.
Thank you.
Really well done, Doug. I remember you telling me about the Rust SDK, and I was like, man, that's going to be a lot of work, but I believe in you. And now here we are. You're talking about it. You're demoing it. It's working. So
Yeah, it worked. That's the important thing.
that's awesome, man. Honestly, I'm really proud of all of you guys. You did all so well. So great. That's a great little background with our fourth
yeah.
anniversary for atScience. That's a nice little touch. I love that. So Hakeem asks, what is the best new thing you learned while here?
There's so much. Let me go through. I think, funnily enough, I think it's that, you hear about technologies and it kind of like you're far away removed from it, that it seems kind of like magic, but it's all just hard work that people have put in to come up with a problem, a solution to a problem. And so if you've got a big idea and you want to go for it, like, it's just going to take hard work and some thinking.
Ah, that's good. That's good right there. Someone clip it.
Yeah, put that on TikTok.
But thank you so much, Doug. You were wonderful to
Cheers.
have. You're great to work with. And I mean, look at that. You prove that if you dream of something, you can achieve it if you work hard enough for it and if you really want it. So thank you so much, Doug. It was wonderful having you.
Cheers. Thank you.
All right. Here we go. Natasha. Oh, I should probably pull down. Keep saying. How are you doing today, Natasha?
I'm doing good. It's been quite a bit of waiting, but like, I really like to see everybody's presentations. Y'all did so much. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen.
Yep.
And
It's worth the wait, though. It's always worth the wait. There you go. The floor is yours.
we don't know. Okay, so presenting. Hopefully it's presenting it nicely. I don't know. I can't tell.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So hello everyone. My name is Natasha. I'm a software engineering intern at atSign, and yeah, it's the final demo. So to get into it, I will be touching up firstly on like the highlights of my internship. These were ones that I felt like I really felt successful after accomplishing these. Especially because it's only 4, but it's 4 I feel big ones that took me a lot of like time, a lot of different like self like adjusting and being able to like adjust, adapt, and learning a lot. So the first 2 are kind of around the first half of the internship. So I created an atC utility for atkeys file reading and writing. And I also fixed the home screen for an updated UI for the atData browser app that's to be published. And then the third and fourth one will be what I will demo first. And then maybe I can like do another quick demo of the highlight number 1. So the third and fourth one, it was creating a base responsive product website for atData browser app. And then I also made a second one for the atDude application. Yeah, so for the first one, here's a diagram that some of you may have already seen. So I kind of like to show like, I feel like before going into planning, I like to kind of doodle a lot. So this is kind of like my thought process towards how I wanted to start structuring it. We definitely, this was a task that I got from Jeremy, and we discussed like how it should have gone, and then we found ourselves kind of being like, okay, wait, maybe we'll like take a step back and then kind of redo the structure of it. So yeah, any updates on that? It was from the last time you guys saw it. I added like error handling for that because that wasn't covered at all, and it still works smoothly. And then the next one was fixing the home screen with an updated UI for atData browser app. So any challenges? The challenge was definitely like setting up Flutter and like learning about dependencies And status update, well, you can see there the request got merged. Thank you to Curtly. It was a lot of big help, and I felt really encouraged as well, especially going into a language that I didn't really know about. So that was a really big thing for me to manage to do that. But yeah, so what's my demo going to be about? My demo is going to be about the websites that I created. So I did front end development for the designs that Daria created. Shout out to Daria for literally helping me with everything. And yeah, so you can see like this diagram there, which is another doodle. And I'll be kind of talking a little bit about the process of that, especially because it was something that I learned and really like kind of changed my experience with front end development. I thought that I was kind of like not a pro, but like intermediate level. But now I really realized there was a lot more that I could have done differently from how I've been doing front end design and development. So yeah, for the demo, hopefully this will go smoothly. Going to share, present. Oh, yes. So I'm going to share. I'll share a data browser first. If it'll. Yes. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see. Actually, I'm going to share my entire window because, sorry, entire screen. Okay. So, so we'll start with add data browser first. So it was just mainly implementing just everything was really basic, CSS, JS, and HTML. Yeah, here's the official first look. And so kind of like the buttons aren't really linked yet because there's no link, but look at the beautiful design. This is all Daria, but yeah, I basically took the Figma, looked at it, and kind of the process of structuring the website was I looked at the different ways that I could structure it, and there were a lot, especially with the layering. As you can see, like these overlap with this structure right here, and then creating like this opaque box over here that would overlap, and then kind of going to the top here to kind of align everything. Before, I would definitely be someone who would kind of add too many things and make things really messy. And this time I was kind of determined to make a full-on plan about exactly how I was going to structure it and keep it simple so that the code isn't difficult for whoever takes this on to make the website better. But yeah, and so that is add data browser. Now I'm going to go to add dude. So add dude as well is just HTML, JS, and CSS elements. So let's run that one. And there you go. There's the second, or there's the first look of the second website. The designs were so amazing. When I saw the designs, I was like, I have to, please. Like, I really would like to do the website creation. I kept it a little bit low-key on that, but I'm saying it now. I really wanted to work on this. So yeah, this is for the Add Dude app. So these websites would kind of go on to the product design once the product is released. And you can kind of see here. And I think with this one, the difference was definitely more awkward structuring of the elements here, especially with the first half. Pretty much like for the 3/4 of this website, I found that the elements here were like really, really different in comparison to atData browser. atData browser was kind of like more like linear, and I was able to like go about it a little bit more easily, I would say. But this one was really something that was like, okay, how can I get the staggered elements here to be to stay? There's a lot more room for improvement for sure. And oh, sorry. Yeah, so I want to go back to this. So yeah, so that was my demo. It was just scrolling down the 2 websites that I made. But what was the kind of like journey that kind of like led me to creating the website, especially in the way where it's different from before? Difference being, before I would find myself making really messy code, and this time I wanted to see if I can take it in a more appropriate way. So the layering turned out to be very different. I started to make use of the Bootstrap grid system, but with that, it was kind of like learning how to incorporate different container types so that you could appropriately layer it without messing it up. So an example would be if I went back to this website here, a lot of these elements are like cut off at certain things, so that if I tried to move right or left, like it would stay in there, and it's kind of like stay fitted, right? So in order to ensure that happened, instead of having like scrolling, there would be a specific feature called overflow hidden. But in order to, you would have to very carefully look at the structure of the layers so that you would know exactly how to put in that feature and property for all these different elements at different points of the code. So I think that was something really different and challenging. In fact, I did start off doing my typical messy coding for front end for atData browser, and then I actually scrapped the entire thing and then did it completely different. And I think I'm really happy about it. The chunks of code here, it's less than 200 lines of code, and I actually anticipated it to be a lot more, because that's how it started looking like. I was at like 150 lines of code, but I barely got past like this part of the website, and that's not even like half of it. So I felt like something was different there, and I took the time to step away, do some research more, and really find the changes and put that in so that the code is more readable and nice. Yeah. Oh, I also did want to talk about the JS really quickly. So the JS stuff was kind of for, if I refresh the app here, you can see the JS is for the animations here that they put in. This was kind of left up to me to decide how I wanted to do it. I think I might have picked some really simple ideas. Like, we could definitely look into more wacky animations as you scroll through it. This one, I kept it really simple because they're surfing, so I thought let them surf and hover. I did get a little bit crazy at some point, but then I took a step back and said, let's not do that for now. And then, yeah, so I think I would love to keep working on this even after the internship, and like find out some more cooler stuff, get more input, and yeah. So that's my take on the JS and the animations. And kind of to summarize the drawings here, it was more of, I started off on the left with this type of messy planning, which is how I would code it before. And then the one on the right is kind of me utilizing Bootstrap Grid, which I didn't really do before. And I realized it's so much better to use this, but in the right way. So like each square here that you would look at has its own sort of layering going on to add in a bunch of things. Because you can see here it goes to tree and the phone element, which is only like the beginning of it. So I didn't include the rest of the drawings, but that's my demo. Yeah, and then yeah. So since it's the end of the internship, I always reflect, always thinking, and I think I'm really grateful for the opportunity. I got to, you can see on the left here, I'm like trying to say that I got to explore like my now expanded new scope of the tech industry, and I solidified my understanding of like my learning and my work styles, which together kind of combined to something that that is like been really valuable and is working right now for me. And I'm carrying forward what I've learned at atSign in so many different applications and applying it to like the leadership roles that I'm taking on for this upcoming year. And I just learned so much. You guys are awesome. Everybody is so cool. Like I didn't think that I would get to work at a cool company, but I got to work at a cool company. You guys are so amazing. But yeah, I can wrap up my presentation here and not do the other demo, which was the @C stuff, because this is kind of there. Actually, since I'm here, I'm going to quickly do it. So basically, the @C would take a generated @keys file serve files that you would create from any @sign app. So this would be the one that I generated, and this is how it looks like. It's just a really ridiculously long line of code. And if I ran this one, the main implementations that you would use would be the @keys file reading and then the @keys file writing. So in the order that I've created here, what I'm trying to do is I'm going to try and read this generated @keys file, and then I would like to save that structure. So this would be one like main use, and then the next main usage case would be when you already have the struct or the system for storing the information. You already have it set up, and now you want to convert that into an @keys file. So you can see here, like this would be the name of the new @keys file that I would create. And you can see I said copy, so like the name is different from this one. And essentially when I run it, so I already CD'd into my scripts folder. Thank you so much, Jeremy, for showing me how to set this up. So yeah, so I would do sh run.sh. And then, so this is just to help me kind of follow along with my code, but it generated the file right here, @keys, and then you can kind of see at the end here. Or sorry, I think I deleted it here, and then I didn't realize I deleted here. So let me delete that, and then run it again. Oh, where did it go? Okay. Is it still? Yes. Okay, that was tricky. Sorry. Yeah. Okay, so you can see that it appeared there. So that was like a very quick demo. And yeah, that kind of brings me to the end of. Stop sharing. Is it working? I've never had to share this many stuff. I'm trying to find my window now. Sorry. So yeah, so that's bringing me to the end of my presentation. And does anyone have any questions?
Awesome stuff, Natasha. I probably wouldn't be able to do that. So that's some really great stuff, honestly.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Anything in the chat? It was great having you, Natasha. It was wonderful having you around. You bring a good energy as well. I love that. So, if that is all, Well, thank you so much, Miriam. It was great. Not Miriam. Oh my goodness. Okay, hold on.
Miriam's
Thank you
next.
so much, Natasha. Miriam is up next. There we go. Here we go, Miriam.
Hi.
My bad. I mixed you two up. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's so cringe. That goes to the cringe compilation.
No, you're good. Okay, I'll keep my presentation as short as possible because I know it's going a little over time. But, yeah. Hey guys, I'm really excited to be here. I'm gonna start sharing my screen. Oh wait, for some reason it won't. Let me see. Okay. Oops. Okay, here's the beginning. Okay. Hi everyone. I'm Miriam. I'm the sales intern at atSign for this summer. I'm really excited to be presenting for the final demo day, and I'm just gonna get started. So these are just 4 different projects that I worked on that I wanted to demo. I'd like to preface by saying that a lot of my work besides this was just small tasks and any little things that people wanted me to do for them. So I wasn't fully able to demo those things, but I think that's what really made up my internship as well. So first I'm going to talk about the enterprise calculator that I showed in the last demo day. This enterprise calculator I basically use or made, and it's pretty basic, but it helps price the different atSign packages and ad servers, and it helps price that out for 5 years. Oops. Okay, wait, can you guys see this? Like, sharing this tab? Okay, can you see this?
There you go. Yep, you're good.
Okay. I think my presentation kind of got messed up on that slide, but anyway, sorry. This was the sheet that I made, and this is where it predicts out 5 years, and it can predict for inflation and capex and opex costs and any discount that's applied on the first year. And these yellow boxes is basically where you can insert any numbers, and it'll change the whole data set based off of like any numbers that you put. These are just the different kinds of ad signs that you can buy for different prices, and the same thing with the ad servers. And this just shows the price just in case, like when someone was entering it, if they were confused at all. So anyway, next I'm gonna go to the CRM document. So I was just asked to find a CRM for atSign for eventually when they may need one, which I did, and I found like around 5 that I thought were good based off of the criteria that the sales team wanted me to go off of, and they wanted like a mobile and web platform. Obviously, an emphasis on privacy protection and integration with QuickBooks. There were some other criteria as well that I did make sure to end up following, but these were the 5 that I found. And this is the document that I came up with. It is around 16 pages. I gave a short summary for each of them, and I kind of demoed some of their pictures from their CRMs from the different ones. I really liked this one, this Flowlu one, and Pipedrive, which is the next one, I believe, because I think that those 2 really fit what atSign does, and especially the dashboard view. I did insert some videos for the ones that didn't have as many pictures, but yeah, I also included a comparison. This is really small, but this is just based off of what people at atSign gave me, and I just compared everything that they wanted, and the prices, which is why I included so many, because they're different prices. And then I included a summary. This is kind of like my first business report. So I just tried to make it look as professional as possible, but I'm still learning. So anyway, moving on to the next one. This was the university outreach. And I think that you guys can see my slides, right? This is like one of my favorite projects I worked on. I had to find different professors at different colleges for computer science so that we could sell the education pack to them and kind of just help out within the tech realm for all these students that have maybe never worked with a company before and can get hands-on experience. And okay, so this I feel like I might have done the most work for. And this is the list that I found. I'm gonna scroll all the way down. I color coded it because I got bored and I thought it was pretty. But I found around like 530 colleges, and then I kind of made the head of the department like a darker color, so it's easy to differentiate. And I went off of this criteria that they gave me. Just went to every website and then found like the faculty and really basic stuff. But I'm really proud of like the list in general, just because I was working on lead gen with Denise and Kim, and I think that this was like an extension of that in a sense. But yeah, the next thing is the university pipeline. That was also just an extension of what I just showed you. We've contacted 10 universities so far, and this is just a basic university pipeline. And I think that's really cool that we can that we've contacted like 10, just crazy. It's relatively new, but yeah. And anyway, so this is my final slide because I didn't have much time to make this since I was traveling. I just got back off a flight, but some of the additional tasks that I did work on, I held an info session, which was really cool. This was just the basic slides. I kind of taught statistical modeling in R, and I think that could be really useful for AdSign in the future when more data is gathered and the company grows. There could be a lot of potential to see like customer reactions towards the website and different features that could make people more excited, less excited, even towards the apps and just products in general. I worked on a lot of lead gen, which I also really, really enjoyed because I met a lot of wonderful people at this company that I don't think I would have reached out to if I wasn't given that opportunity. I also attended 2 webinars, which I've never done before, and I thought that was pretty cool as well. I was able to find lead gens through that, and I never would have thought of that before. And I attended sales pitch training and Flutter Friday and many other things that I really, really, really enjoyed. I'm also a first year, and so this was a really wonderful experience, especially as a first internship. I'm really grateful that I got to work with such a wonderful team. I think that not many people get this opportunity, and I really tried my best to make the most of it and work as hard as I could every single day. So I'm really, really happy that I could have been a part of this team and just help out in any way possible and learn so much at the same time. But yeah, that's all I have for right now, just because I could go into depth about it a little more, but I think it would be here all day. So yeah, thank you so much for such a wonderful experience.
All right. Thank you so much, Miriam. Yeah, I also loved your info session. That was like literally a whole semester's worth of like content in like 1 hour. So it's really impressive what you've done.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that info session as well. I think it was one of my favorite parts. It's really fun.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Miriam, for being here for the 8 weeks. Again, I don't know how you guys all pulled off all of this work within 8 weeks, but I'm happy that you managed through it. You went through all of the difficult times and you got here and you made it. So great job, Miriam.
Thank
and
you.
to the rest of you interns.
Thanks.
All right. And that is it. I'll just pull you off the stage. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. This was the journey, 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm sure we weren't expecting it to be that long. But like I said, the interns were spectacular, and now I have the proof that they were. So please like, subscribe, comment, all the good stuff. Stay up to date with us on Twitter. LinkedIn, all of that. And we will link all of that in the chat. But thank you so much. And maybe you will be an atIntern during next summer. Thank you so much, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Friday. We have the receipts. We do have the receipts. Absolutely right. See you all later. Enjoy your weekend.